This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. Can anyone recall what we discussed in the previous session?
uh, process call
We
shape,
discussed
process
about,
property,
yes,
process call.
process call shape, right? What is the use of process call shape? So we can call one process from another process, right?
Yes,
Right? We can call one process from another process by using process call shape. So whenever we are calling the date, process call shape, whenever you are using process call shape to call the sub process, we need to use the data pass through. Data pass through. Data pass through. Why we need to use the data pass through? What is the use of data pass through?
we are calling the data by external source for parent one.
Yes.
like D2P.
Call the data from main
We
process.
can call
So
the data
whenever
from
if you want
external
to
source.
call the data from one process to another process, right? You want to pull the data. If you want to pull the data, okay, if you want to pull the data from main process to the sub process, then we can use the data pass through. Okay, data pass through is going to be used the data which is available in a main process. If you want to pull the data into sub process, we'll go with the start step with the data pass through, right? Data
Yes,
pass through, right? And what else we discussed? We discussed about execution id,
execution
right?
ID.
What do you mean by execution id?
We can
It is a
track
unique
the
id.
process level.
Unique
Unique
ID.
ID.
The
We can
unique
track
id,
the
right?
entire process.
Which is
Yes,
used to track the complete process, right? Which is
yes,
used to
complete process.
track the com- process execution,
Execution.
boom, right? So it is a unique id. For every execution, the id is a unique. By using that unique id, we can able to track the process execution in the, okay, in the process reporting page, right? So what else we discussed?
We have
We
two
discussed about,
options.
sorry. So which property is used to used to take that execution id?
Execution, execution property.
Dynamic process.
Execution property, right?
Property.
Yes.
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 Execution property is used to execution property. So it holds the complete metadata details, like metadata details. Okay, metadata details means, let's say, execution id, right? Execution id and atom name, right? Atom name, atom id, atom id. Okay, and different process id, process name. So these are all some of the some of the metadata details can be captured by using execution property. And even execution id will also comes under the execution property. So this execution id is a unique id which is going to be constant till no complete execution, means complete process. This execution id is a constant. So now which property we can use to store this execution id? So out of, we have five properties, right? We have a document property, dynamic document property, process property, dynamic process property, and the MIME property. The out of five properties, which property we can use to store this execution ID?
Document property.
Sorry,
Document property.
document property,
Process
Dynamic
property.
process property. Dynamic
process
process
property.
property.
So if
Dynamic
you
process.
remember, the dynamic process property is a process level property. Dynamic process property is a process level property. We can use the dynamic process property to deal with the entire process level, right?
process level.
So we are using dynamic process property and we are using execution property to store that value, parameter value, right? We'll go to the execution properties. Under that we have a execution id. So account id, atom id, these are all the metadata details. Out of that we will use a execution id. It is a unique id. Okay, so keep it in mind, keep it in mind, don't be confused. Whenever if you want to deal with any property, any value, any key in an entire process level, blindly go with a dynamic process property or a process property. These two. Even you can use a process property also, but even you can use the process property also, but the process property is a component. Okay, it is a component. uh, okay, it is a component. So this property, okay, this property is dynamically changing for every execution. It is not a constant one. So that's why we will use a dynamic process property. If it is a constant one, okay, if it is a constant one, it is a static one, then we can go with the process property. Okay, and whenever if you are dealing with the document level properties, I mean whenever you want to deal with the document level, then we can go with the dynamic document property. Okay, and coming to document property, whenever you have a connector level properties, like file names, directories, to address or from address, in a connector level, if you want to assign any values, then we'll go with the which property?
Document property.
Document
Document
property.
of
Very good. Okay, clear about these properties.
Yes.
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 Okay, so now if you don't have anything, if you have anything, you can ask me. If you don't have anything, we can move forward. Yes. If anyone have any questions or any doubts, you can ask me. If you don't have anything, then we can move forward.
For execution ID, whatever the ID, execution ID, and whatever it is, in a process level, we can use both properties, either process property or dynamic process property.
Yes, we can use, but it's not a best practice if you want to go with a process property. So but the process property you can use when you have a static values. Okay, hard coded values if you have. Okay, if you want to hard code those values, it is not going to be changed in an entire no account level. Then we'll go with the process property. Process property is a component. Okay, process property is a component in Boomi where we can reuse that property in an entire account level. So that's why we cannot use process. See, we can use, it's not like that we cannot use, we can use, but it's not a best practice. Okay, because the property, process property is a component. Okay, process property is a component. It's a whenever you want to store some static values, and we can use those them in a account level or anywhere in the process, we can use a process property. But if you see here, the execution id is changing for dynamically, like execution to execution, the execution id is going to be changed, right? Dynamically. That's why best practice is, okay, recommended is use dynamic process properties. Okay, use dynamic process properties. Clear?
Okay. Yes.
Okay, anything else? Okay, so now we'll discuss about message shape, new shape. Okay, message shape. So whenever if we have a sample data, let's say for example, if you want to do testing, if you, okay, you have a sample data, you want to do testing without connecting to any third party application system, you want to do testing, then we can use a message shape. We need to pass some data, right? For example, here you are not connecting to this disk connection. Okay, you don't want to connect with the disk connection and you want to test it out. Okay, you want to test the data out, you want to test your process. If you have a sample payload or if we have a sample data, then we can pass the data somewhere and dynamically or statically, then we can do a testing, right? For that in mesh in Boomi we have a message shape. Okay, by using message shape we can combine the data, or we can, okay, message shape, which is comes from the execution property, from the execution execution type. Okay, execution type by using message shape. Message shape we can pass data dynamically or statically. Dynamically. Okay, we can pass the data or a document. Okay, we can pass the data or a document dynamically to transform and one more thing, and we dynamically. Okay, message shape is used to transform the data transform the data transform the data and combine the combine the data into a single message into a single message. Okay, so now which shape is used to transform the data one format to another format?
Map shift.
Which,
Map.
sorry, map shape, right? So by
Yes.
using map shape we can transform the data one format to another format, and shape also used to transform the data one format to another format. How we can see now? And which shape is used to combine the documents?
Data
Data
processing.
processing.
Data processing.
Data process shape, right? So by using message shape also, how we can transform the data and how we can combine the data into a single message, we can see. Okay, so now come here. If you see here, to transform incoming document into a free form of message using a combination of or dynamic variables. Okay, see, we can transform the data into a free form of message. Use the message shape. The message shape is often used to construct email messages. Like, it is a best practice, very very important note, and one of the question interview question as well as a certification question. So message shape is used to construct a email message. Okay, construct to email message. It is a best practice whenever if you want to send any notifications, email notifications to the client. Before that, use a message shape or a notify shape. Construct the emails. Okay, with the complete details like error and the process name, execution ID, all these details we can use a message shape and we can construct the email messages. Okay, so now for that we can use a message shape to construct the email messages. We can use message shape. Okay, okay, now come to Bhumi. So here we have the message shape is often used to construct the email messages. Okay, now you can see here we have an option combine documents into a single message. Okay, let's say if you are getting multiple documents, now you want to combine them into a single message, then if you check this checkbox, it is going to be converted into a single document or a single message. Okay, this is one option. And here, see, let's say where is our let me go to our right, this is the data, right? This is the data which we are this is the data which we are pulling, right? Okay, let me what I will do. Wait. So this is the data, right? This is the data which we are trying to pull from the local directory. So what we'll do, I will copy this. Okay, now here I don't want to connect with any application system. Let's say I don't want to connect with any application system. Now I want to pass this data. Okay, I want to pass this data statically here. Now I want to do a testing. I want to do a testing here. So what I'm doing, whatever the data is available, Okay, this is the data, right, which we are pulling from the local directory, right? Employees data we are trying to pull from the local directory. But for testing purpose, it is very very important, guys. Okay, whenever you sample payload for testing purpose, okay, you want to do a end-to-end testing without connecting to the source application system. Okay, every time we will not connect with the source application system and we will not pull the data from there, right? So if we have a sample payload or a sample test data, then we will pass that data statically and we can do the testing, right? To pass the data statically, we can use a message shape and we can pass it. Okay, we can pass into the message session and we can test it out. You can see here we have a message. Okay, we can pass the sample payload here and we can do the testing. Okay, so now connect this. Okay, now test it, save and test it. Okay, do you see here the message shape is executed? After that the complete process also will getting executed, which means, see here, the if you see the shape source data, whatever the data which we passed in the message shape, after that message shape, if you click on the data processor and if you open that shape source data, you can see that payload which is coming from the message shape we pass dynamic statically and we are testing out. Okay, this is how we can pass the static values. Okay, this is how we can pass the static values. Now you can ask me, so now we can pass static values and dynamic values, right? How we can use that static values and dynamic values? So now if you come here, let's say so these are all static, right? These are all the statically I'm passing. So now if I want to pass dynamically, if I want to pass dynamic values, how can I do that one? Okay, so now here for example I want to change this employee id dynamically, or else this location as a dynamically. So what I will do, let me remove this one. Okay, now whenever if you want to pass, very very important note. So the dynamic values can be passed, okay, with the help of brackets. Okay, with the help of curly brackets or flower brackets. Okay, with this, whenever if you are passing any value dynamically, then we can pass those values dynamically with the help of curly brackets. Let's say I want to pass id value. Okay, now I want to pass this id values dynamically. Then how we can pass? You can put like this and you can pass the value. Okay, it's not a value, it's a placeholder where and like this if you want to pass some name. Okay, now I want to pass some location dynamically. So now I can take like this curly bracket, then put second value like this. So now I will show you here. So now here I want to pass employee id dynamically. Now I can put curly bracket, and now here again I want to pass this location as dynamically. Okay, put a curly bracket and 2, and I want to pass this first name, or else this first name dynamically. Okay, first name dynamically I can pass the this curly bracket and value. So now here we are placing the values. Now we are assigned that value. We need to assign these values, right? For this, for 1, for 2, for 3, we need to assign the values, right? How we can assign the values dynamically? Okay, if you see here we have a variables, right? We have a variables. If you click on this, if you click on the variables again, here you can see the parameter values. Okay, we have a different parameters. Okay, we have a connector call, cross reference, current data, okay, date and time, all the different parameter values we have. So for time being I will go with the static value. Okay, I can go with the static value. First I will go with the 1001. Do we see here curly bracket 1 static value of some value we are passing, and if I the second, now this value, whatever the value we are passing, whatever the value we want to pass dynamically, it will take from here, it will take from here. Okay, now here we have a location. Second, now if again click on plus and static value, let me give Hyderabad. Okay, here I'm giving static values. If you feel that no, those values are changing, coming from the different parameter sessions, we can use that. For time being I'm using a static values. Okay, now you can see here curly bracket 2 and the value is assigned, right? The static value for this, see, for location here the value is going to be assigned here as an Hyderabad. Okay, as a Hyderabad here the value is going to be assigned, and location this three, right? Now again click on plus static value give. Okay, if you feel that that value is coming from different parameters, we can use that parameters only. Okay, for time being I'm using a static value. Okay, let's say, okay, now say okay. So dynamically we can pass values like this, right? Like this. Say okay. Now save. Now test it. Okay, so now if you see here, if you come to the message shape and check the logs here. If you see here, we are assigning the parameter and parameter position 2 and parameter position 3. The values are assigning. If you after the message shape, we are passing these values, right? This one and this one, we are passing the values dynamically, right? If you click on next, if we click on after the message shape, okay, if I check the shape source data, if I click on the shape source data, do you see here 1001 assigned, one here Hyderabad is assigned and the first name is assigned as Anamani, right? Though see, even though we are not getting the values, even though we are not getting the values statically, what we are doing, we are assigning those values or we are passing those values dynamically. Okay, dynamically we are passing those values. For example, this id is changing every time. Okay, let me take here, this is the data, right? What we are doing, this employee id is changing, keep on changing. What we did here, we passed it dynamically curly bracket, right? So now for example, this value is coming from this profile element. Okay, the parameter is coming from the profile. Okay, so in first execution this first value is coming as a 1001, then it is go as a 100. So in second execution, if this value is coming as a 1002, it will take the 100, which means it is taking dynamically, it is not a static value. So static means every time the first name, last name, location, everything is constant, right? It is not changing, which means it is static. Okay, now if you want to pass if you want to pass any dynamic values, then we can go with a curly bracket. Okay, curly bracket, there we can pass this value, and in the parameter session or in a variable session we can pass those values dynamically. Okay, here we have a parameter session, we can pass that dynamically. Clear?
Yes, Pawan.
Yes. Yes.
Like
Clear?
we have lot of employees, right? In this record, like in this document, we have this much of records. If there was
Hmm.
lot of records, then also we need to change each and every idea. Like
No, see, in general,
so,
this see, this is see as a, for our convenient, we taken this employee id 1, employee id 2, like that. in general in real time we will not get these many employees, right? I mean we will get, but it is going to be changed dynamically. Okay, if you click on after the see here what we will do. Okay, what I will do, after the after this I will take, or else before the brand shape I will take one message shape again. Okay, here I will take employee one. Okay, now this employee id is coming from the profile element, let's say. Okay, now and I am taking employee id. Okay, parameter value I am passing, you can see here. Okay, I'm not passing statically, I'm passing dynamically employee id here. Okay,
Hmm.
here this one.
Hmm.
So now here I will pass this mesh shape here. Okay, I will pass this mesh shape here. Now you can see, so the profile is xml profile. This is a profile, right? This is a profile.
Yes.
Okay, this is a profile.
Okay.
Now what we will do, let me test it. Let me test it out so that you will get an idea. Okay, here we are getting an error, that's fine. Now come to here, mesh shape. Click on the mesh shape. This is the mesh shape we right now we placed, right? So now you can see here we are getting one, two, I mean three, four, five, six. Each and every employee id we are getting, right?
Okay.
Have we passed any for each and
Hmm.
every employee?
No,
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 right?
no,
That is what
no.
I'm telling. Whenever
Yeah.
if you are working, this assigning these values are very very important. How we are assigning those parameters, how we are considering these parameters are very very important. Okay, these parameter values are how we are assigning these parameter values are very very important. Okay, depending on your business entity and depending your logic, depending your data. Okay, incoming data, how you want to change that. Okay, not only here, everywhere wherever you're passing these parameters. Okay, just focus and try to build proper way in such that to fulfill your business. Okay,
Okay.
now it is clear.
Clear, clear.
Okay, and one more important note point is very very important. Okay, so the message shape will alter your data. See, if you are not passing anything, for example, okay, if you are passing not no if you are not passing anything, simply whatever the incoming data is there, it will not pass that data to its subsequent shapes. Whatever the data is available in the message shape, that data is going to be passed in its subsequent shapes. That is nothing but a transform, uh, altering your data. Which shape will not alter your data? Which shape will not alter your data?
Notify shape.
Which shape will not alter your data?
Set properties.
Set properties. Very good. So that set property shape will not going to be alter your data. Clear till here? Anyone have any questions or any doubts? Anyone have any questions or any doubts till here? Yes. Okay. If you don't have anything, okay. Tomorrow we are going to be, no, construct the error messages, how we will build error mechanism, error handling mechanism, how we will build, and tomorrow we are going to be discuss. Tomorrow is going to be very important session. Okay.
Okay.